Amazing. Here we are with this incredible guest that I've truly been looking forward to interviewing in the last few weeks. Krishna, welcome to the PLA podcast. It's such a treat to have you on here. Amazing. So what I want to do is I want to take a moment and just introduce this wonderful guest that we have with us today, which has been an absolute treat to have on the podcast. So Sri Krishna Ravulapalli has been a technology leader with 18 plus years of experience in software product development, spanning both startups and large scale organizations. Currently, an R&D engineer at Broadcom, specializing in AI-driven insights and enterprise business solutions. Holds a Google Cloud Professional Architect certification and is known for translating complex challenges into scalable, impactful results. An alumnus of prestigious Indian Institute of Technology in Delhi with a strong foundation in engineering and innovation based in Frisco, Texas, Krishna's career is a testament to combining deep technical knowledge with real-world applications, making him an influential voice in the technology space. Krishna, it's so wonderful to have you on here.
Thank you, Danya, for the great introduction, and I'm excited to be here.
It's been such a treat. So I wanted to get the audience to know you a little bit more after all these years. Where did this whole start or passion for technology really begin?
Sure. This is Krishna. I'm from a small town in southern India. I did my schooling up to 12th grade in my own school. I mean, it was run by my mom. Okay. So first time I stepped out of my town for my engineering in computer science in a nearby college. And later I went to IIT Delhi for my master's in computer applications. That's a life-changing moment for me. I'm out of my comfort zone, met people from different backgrounds. So I got an opportunity to meet with different people from different backgrounds and different culture, and learned a lot from them, and got inspiration from them, how everyone is looking towards in their career. And that's where I shown my interest towards the computer science engineering and got into this industry. Wow. And the IIT laid the foundation for me in getting a campus job into one of the largest MNCs.
Incredible. Krishna, and I think what I'm fascinated to hear from your story is that it all started in your mom's school, and it's a testament to your parents' appreciation for education and that value that they've instilled in you and throughout your career and journey.
Absolutely. Yep. I had a lot of learnings from them. And they had a vision of setting up educational institution from the beginning, and they did it and run it throughout their lifetime. And they ran it for around 48 years in the same institute. And while running it, they also served the community, and by offering free education to the needed people with no expectation in return. So I got a lot of learnings from them, working hard towards our goals, whatever we wanted to achieve.
That's incredible. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about your story to the US. Like, how did that really go for you in that transition? As many people in tech, especially in the Indian community, that transition can come with a lot of challenges or beautiful learning opportunities. So tell us more about that part of your story.
Sure. As I said, IIT Delhi provided me the opportunity to work in the largest MNCs. That's where I got my first international exposure to the teams in USA, and I worked with many of my colleagues in USA. While working in my first company, CA Technologies, I got an opportunity to travel to USA for 2 months, and I stayed in New York at that time. That was my first trip out of my country. So there I met people from different backgrounds and learned from them how, and I noticed a lot of new initiatives are happening in United States, and they provide support in working on latest initiatives. So that set the focus on me to come to the United States and start working here as well. So while I was working on the largest MNCs, I came out from there to here and worked in the startup organizations as well. There I got exposure to the product development from the start to the deployment phase. So that's my journey to the United States.
That's incredible. So we can claim that you were once an East Coaster.
Yeah.
So this is incredible. And so tell us a little bit about, the power and influence of family. Like, I know that at the very beginning of your story, your parents and the education, and how does it continue to grow, and the influence of family in, your life. I know we're going to talk plenty about career, but I'd love to keep getting to know a bit more about your story.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. As I have grown up seeing my parents working towards their goals, so considering that I set up my goals in growing to next levels in my career. I was always a big believer of my work should speak for myself. So considering that, I kept on taking up the task and delivering the task on time. Uh, at one stage, I realized that helps up to certain extent, and later we need visibility as well. So uh, then I started looking towards the programs like PLA, and there I got to know that along with delivering the task, we need to um, advocate on our learnings and serve the community as well. The same way how my parents served the community by offering the free education, so I wanted to uh, share my learnings to the community and help them understand how the latest technologies can help in solving the problems, current real world problems.
I love this. And I love how this story from the very beginning to today, and it's not yet the
Mhm.
end. There's so much more still ahead for you in your incredible career. I,
Yeah.
you know, I love this theme of being able to give back to the community in terms of education and knowledge, and especially around this topic of technology that has been so important to you throughout your career and your journey, and even throughout your education. And so I'm curious, what is one of your favorite topics that you've been talking about recently through your LinkedIn profile and your platform on technology? What has been something that you're thinking, "Oh, you know what, I'd love to keep advocating on this and sharing those pieces of knowledge?"
Sure. My strength is adapting to the new technologies. So I always work towards learning new technologies. In the past, if you look back in the past 10 years, it was all about the cloud computing, and there I learned about cloud computing environments and got the certification in Google Cloud. And currently the trend is about AI, and so I started adopting the AI technologies and learned about prompt engineering and how AI agents can communicate and building the agentic AI systems. So those are the learnings for me, and I started sharing my learnings in my LinkedIn as well
Beautiful.
about prompt engineering and the protocols the agents use in setting up the agentic AI systems.
It's incredible, and incredibly valuable to anyone listening that has an interest or intrigue really to AI, and it's how we
Mhm.
can actually use and adopt it in so many ways as tools. And I would invite anybody who hasn't gone to take a peek at your LinkedIn to, have a look
Mhm.
and get to know, so much of what you're sharing with the community, which has been phenomenal.
Mhm. Thank you.
You're so welcome. And I'd be curious, like, where do you see AI going in the future as someone who is nowhere near as versed as you are in this topic?
Yeah, going forward, AI will be playing a major role, and currently we have AI agents which can assist us in writing the coding. So that is assisting all the developers in completing their job at a faster pace, and and later it will evolve in the support industry as well, where it can assist the support engineers on how to resolve the tickets. And wherever you see the tasks are repetitive, and where those can be automated using the AI agents, and humans can be freed up in doing those repetitive actions and focus on new challenges and newer problems to solve.
I think you bring up such an important point, which is going to lead me to my next question in just a moment. But that piece around
Mhm.
alleviating people from certain tasks that can actually be taken over by AI. And, I think that there is, and I love the way you framed it because it actually puts such a positive spin around it versus something that has, really been a driving force of fear for a lot of people in the industry recently, of like the possibility of losing jobs. And, a lot of AI is going to be replacing a lot of jobs, and certain tasks that are taking up a lot of our time today. So I'd be really curious, like, how has it been in terms of your own relationship to maybe the fear that has been coming up, or the stories or people being afraid? Talk to us more about that.
Yeah, so there is definitely a fear, but I don't completely agree to that fear, because it's not going to replace the humans, but it helps in assisting the engineers in solving the problems at a much faster pace. The way I see it as like, I mean, I always like to give simple examples in understanding the complex things. So similarly, uh, how I see this is like, when the calculators were invented, there was a fear like all the accounting jobs will go away, but that was not the truth. All the calculators helped the accountants in solving and completing their task at a much faster pace. So similarly, I see AI also in the same trend. Like, it helps the developers, support engineers, or any engineers to complete their task in a much faster pace using leveraging the features of AI.
Incredible. Yeah, absolutely. And I love that analogy with the calculator. It simplifies it for anyone, whether they do have a background in technology or not, to really
Mhm.
understand, that this change, this new change, and not be so afraid of it, but see it almost as from an empowering and exciting perspective.
Yeah. Yeah,
Incredible.
yeah. There were, it was also like so many repetitive actions of adding subtractions for the accountants. So those are all replaced with the calculators. So similarly, for the AI agents, also helps in taking out those repetitive actions and focus on the real challenges.
That's amazing. That's incredible. And I'd be really curious, like, now let's take us everyone back in time just a little bit. If you
Mhm.
were to give yourself a piece of advice, at the very, very beginning of your career, I'd be so curious, knowing everything that you know now, all of your experience, all of your insight, all of your growth, because let's just take a quick moment before I ask you this question or before you answer it. You've put in so much personal work, not only professional work, but personal work into your own growth and your professional development over the last few years. And it's very obvious, even in the last few months that I've gotten to know you in the PLA community, which has been incredible, is like knowing that you are someone who is so driven by growth, who is so
Mhm.
committed to growing personally and professionally. I'd be really, really curious what someone like you would want to say to the audience of, if I were to give myself at the very beginning of my career this one piece of advice, what would it be? Go for it.
This is a very good question. So uh, I had to think back what I was doing at that time. So my simple suggestion to my younger self is like, stop procrastinating with the fear of judgment. I procrastinated so many things considering what others will think. So let's not think about fear of judgment. And I advise him, take action before you are ready, and it's okay to be imperfect. Start
Oh,
taking the actions.
that is so good. Let's just take a moment for everyone to really soak
Mhm.
that in, Take imperfect action before you're ready and stop getting paralyzed by the fear of judgment. And so many people listening to this will relate. Like, I think every single person which will be watching this recording will think, I've
Mhm.
been there before. Or maybe at times that we all even tend to slip into this, and
Yeah,
to come back to saying, no, you know what? I'm going to stay in the momentum, keep taking imperfect action, and do it before I am ready.
yeah. And to be frank, before this podcast, I was thinking, should I postpone this or not? And then I decided, no, let's do it. Be it imperfect, let's do it. So.
And I love this, and I think that the level of transparency is so perfect in this. Like even myself, as you know, the podcast host, there are so many times where I'll slip, I'll make a mistake, and it's like, no, just keep going, because we'll get refined, and even as we build the momentum through the podcast, it gets better and better as we're having this beautiful conversation together. So it feels amazing. Incredible. I'd be so curious, you know, your new position at Broadcom. I'd love to hear about your journey. What are the biggest pieces of insight you've taken from, you know, this piece of career, this part of your journey in your career? What have been the biggest teachings and learnings from this phase?
Sure. Uh, as you know, I have 18 years of experience, and I spent on multiple domains, starting from service management domain, and then ERP domain, and the payment industry, telecom industry, and airline industry, and finally into this mainframe software division in Broadcom. So, as you know, mainframe is a decade-old software system that has been running, and it cannot be replaceable by any of the new existing technologies right now. And so many of the bankings are still rely on these mainframe systems. So as new technologies are coming up and um, solving the problems in distributed space, this mainframe industry needs to be modernized. So since it was developed decades old, we are working on modernizing the mainframe systems with making use of the latest AI technologies, so that the banking customers need not move away from the mainframe, and they can still stick to the robust mainframe which they have been relying from past decades. But they can also get the features what they are seeing with other distributed systems in mainframe industry also, using these latest AI technologies. Since I have a passion towards these AI technologies, I want to experiment how we can make use of them onto the mainframe systems as well.
Beautiful. Incredible. Super, super interesting. And I'd be really curious, you know, like from, you know, now we were in the banking industry. I'd be curious to know what were some of your other favorite industries to work in over your career?
Yeah, my favorite industry was the payment industry, where that's a startup company where I have exposure to all the life cycles of a product. Um, that changed my career altogether. That was the company which gave me exposure to the cloud technologies, and we built the first cloud native solution at that time. And that's my first exposure to cloud technologies, and that laid the foundation for me to get into the MNCs and worked in the airline domain as well. Airline domain is another fascinating industry because we all make use of it whenever we go for traveling and all, right? So working on such technologies also gives you more passion. And so whenever we book the tickets, I feel like, yeah, this is the software running at my company through which you are booking it. So that gives me a lot of passion as well. So the payment industry and the airline industry are the more passionate.
I think in some ways it's like getting to see the fruits of your labor, even from the other end, from the user perspective. It must be so rewarding in so many ways.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'd be so curious, Krishna, in for the future, like what's coming up for the future. What would be some of the things you're most looking forward to in your career in terms of impact and maybe even legacy that you leave behind as you work through these next phases of your career?
Yeah, I want to grow towards the public speaking. I want to gain momentum in public speaking and advocate the latest technologies and my learnings, and help the community in understanding how to make use of those technologies and how it helps in solving the real world problems. So, in the going forward, I want to become a public speaker in the technical conferences.
Absolutely. Well, you're already on a head start after watching your LinkedIn videos, and if anyone hasn't taken the time, please take a peek. And you know, I've seen even the evolution in your speaking and the quality of your speaking, your skills has grown drastically even in the few months that you've invested a lot of time and effort into it. So, that's chapeau bas, as we say in French, which is a true compliment to your work and your dedication to, growing those skills truly.
Thank you.
I'd be curious to know a little bit about what were the greatest challenges in your career? What were some of the moments where you're thinking that was probably one of the more difficult things that happened in my career, one of the biggest lessons I had to learn? And what would you say if someone was facing those lessons today?
Sure. I briefly touched upon it, but again, I'll go back to that point. So, in the early stages of my career, I was a big believer of my work should speak for me. So, I always keep delivering the tasks and expect that it will be recognized by the leaders in the organization. So that is true up to one point, but it won't help. Uh, but it won't help always. Okay, once you get into the leadership role, you have to build your own visibility. So to build your visibility, you have to speak for your work as well. So uh, that's the key point I want to emphasize to everyone. Along with delivering the task, you should speak for your work and get your visibility.
That's
You
a
have to share your learnings and speak for yourself.
Oof, that is a good one that we oftentimes don't think about when we're in technical, like when we're in work
Mm.
that's very technical driven. And oftentimes people think, oh, the more I perfect my work and the results and the end product of what is asked of me, the better
Mhm.
I will be recognized. But oftentimes it's not quite the case when you get to a certain level of your career and a certain level of the organization. It comes with speaking up,
Yeah.
sharing your ideas, you know, raising concerns, being courageous, even if it's communicated in an imperfect way.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow. Incredible. And what do you feel has been one of those key elements or tools that helped you, get courageous and start to speak of your work? Because that takes a tremendous amount of a shift in how we do our work. Not only is it like performing in terms of end product and the work that we're doing and what's being asked of us, but also more importantly, like what helped you create that shift?
Yeah, I would definitely give that credit to PLA. I mean, Personal Leadership Academy. So I was in a feeling like that feeling was only with me,
Mm.
right? And PLA changed my thought process altogether, and it's there for everyone, and everyone goes through such kind of phase, and we have to overcome it. So every time you speak, it's okay to be imperfect. That's the analogy I learned from uh, PLA, and implementing the same at all the places.
Oh, that's so touching, Krishna.
Mhm.
Seriously. I think that I do want to take a moment though that not everyone that wants to grow grows. I think that that's a testament to you putting in so much work and dedication. And PLA is a great platform and tool, but really it takes someone who's willing and committed to doing the work. And you've been an incredible performer
Mhm.
in PLA, Krishna, and it's been an absolute pleasure to see you, take what we say, take the baton and run with it. Like, absolutely take it to the next level and be so committed to getting out of your own way, out of your own
Mhm.
comfort zone and saying, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it imperfectly. And I'm going to shift my identity to someone who performs to the best of their abilities at work, but now is courageous enough to speak of my work and now building his way
Yeah.
towards becoming a speaker.
Yeah.
I'd be curious, actually, what were some of the biggest lessons or tools that you learned from PLA in the last few months? Like, what were some of I know we touched on some of them, but maybe share with us a little bit more your journey.
Yeah, the biggest lesson I learned is uh, I mean, whenever you are stressed out or exhausted, it's okay to slow down. Slow
Mm.
down is the key, and slow down and reflect on what are your priorities, and reset your goals and focus on them. So slowing down is the essential part, and identifying where do you want to go and what do you want to do, and just focus on that one.
Wow.
So uh, that's the thing which I'm applying every day. And whenever I feel exhausted, slowing down. I think you also gave me one of the tips, like taking time outs whenever you get exhausted. So I have been following all these things, and that is helping me a lot.
Absolutely. And it's so, what's so fun with that insight is actually it's so counterintuitive. So many people think, especially in high performing industries,
Mhm.
the faster I go, the more I perform, the more I will end up on top and I will be at the head of the pack. But the reality is if you cannot sustain that energy long term, you will never be at the front of the pack for long enough. You will eventually fall behind fairly quickly. And so I love this piece of like that's a great insight of like slowing down is actually the slowing down to speed up.
Mhm.
Slowing down is far more effective than we realize to get really clear on where we're going. If we're not clear on where we're going fast nowhere.
Yeah.
Amazing. And so what do what are you excited of creating in the next 6 months? I want us to in some ways project 6 months from now. Where's Krishna? What is he up to? What's happening? And what is he most excited about?
Yeah, as I said, I wanted to be a public speaker. I mean, I wanted to speak in a couple of technical conferences in the next couple of 6 months. So uh, that's my target, and let's see how it goes.
Absolutely. And I could so see it for you. And we're rooting for you as always in the PLA
Mhm.
community. And I'm sure so many people listening to this recording that have gotten to know you over the years of your career. Like, I wish only nothing but the best for you on this journey of becoming a speaker and really getting on stage and speaking of your experience with AI and technology moving forward.
Mhm. Thank you.
You are so welcome. And so I know we've mentioned a little briefly back and forth about PLA. And so if there's anyone that is curious about PLA and they're thinking, what is this funky community? I've never heard of it. I'm
Mhm.
curious about it now. Definitely my interest is piqued. I'm going to put a QR on the screen above, and it's just the QR to the free training, just to give you an idea. And
Mhm.
there's no strings attached. It just allows you to get it in some ways a peek and get a ton of value for for free and just giving everyone that has the desire for more in their career and a personal life a taste of what's possible, a taste of what has been an instrumental part of Krishna and myself's journey and so many other PLA members that I've had the pleasure of interviewing on this podcast. So I'm going to pop that here on the screen for just a moment, and it allows you to just have a little peek. And with this QR code, you will be able to access the link to the next PLA workshop. All righty. Amazing. Krishna, I wanted to know if anyone that was just starting off their own careers, I know we took a little trip down memory lane in your own career, but if someone was just starting off their career and, they're freshly out of college, it's 2025, what would you say? What would be the piece of advice you would give to them?
Okay, I would advise them to slow down first and understand their priorities and goals. I mean, get a clarity on what they want to become, and focus on those things where they want to head. That it's not just about taking the task from the team and delivering them. Along with that, you have to know what makes you happy and what are your goals and where do you want to go. um, you have to set such a path for your career, uh, and if you need assistance in setting up such paths or in knowing how to navigate through those paths, you can take the benefit from programs like PLA. And mm, PLA is not just about becoming a leader; it's also about how you want to achieve your goals as well.
Absolutely. And then I have a second question that speaks to a slightly different audience.
Mm.
So many of people in tech right now are losing their jobs and are concerned with what's happening. And what would you recommend to them? Times are changing and how can they stay, focused on the possibilities and that, life will continue on, and there's a lot more growth and incredible things to look forward to still in the future.
Yeah, for those, my sincere advice is to stay on top of the latest technologies and get familiar with them and get to know how to make use of them. So that will definitely help them in bringing back into the career and move forward. So that's the key. I mean, if you know something and keep on delivering the same thing and staying in the same technology will not uh, yield good results in the long run. So you'll have to invest yourself in upgrading your skills or upgrading your soft skills or wherever you are. First understand what are your strengths and what are your areas of improvement. Then while working on your strengths you can also work on your areas of improvement and get back and to the routine.
Okay, amazing. Oh, I love that. I think that those are some key elements, like staying on top of new technologies, getting clear on strengths and areas of improvement, and, keeping in mind that if they stay stuck in the same route, doing the same thing, and they don't allow themselves to adapt and evolve, eventually that may not serve them as best
Yep.
as other options, and really, really honing in on those, like you said, hard skills and soft skills that are both so important in today's day and age.
Yep.
Beautiful, Krishna. Thank you. Did you have any last words just before we close off today?
And I just want to say, everyone, uh, whenever you feel exhausted, just slow down and focus on what you want to do and what you want to achieve in your career, and just set your priorities according to that and keep rolling on. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
So good, because so many of us can relate and have been there before and have felt
Mhm.
absolutely burnt and exhausted. So I think, you give a lot of people a lot of light and hope through that comment and through that share. So thank you, Krishna. Thank you for your time today. Excited for your future in speaking, excited for your future in
Mhm.
technology. And truly, I think that you make your parents so proud of, continuing this legacy of educating people on technology the way your parents gave so freely to those through education. So just wanted to shout them out as we close off this recording today.
Sure. Thank you, Janya. Thanks for having me here.
Oh, such a pleasure as
Mhm.
always. And we'll talk so soon on the PLA podcast. Have a beautiful evening, everyone.
Mhm. Thank you.